What is going on, guys? Welcome to the old purple and gold bars. I am your host, Supreme Overlord. God damn, it's been a heck of a weekend. But we are so damn close to real, meaningful football. We got some wild stories out with a lot of weird criticism of Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings on why JJ hasn't been playing more than what he did so far. You know what? Shout out to you, Lefty, because you called it. You said, I don't think he's going to be playing much more than what we saw in that first game, and it was spot on. I was hoping to see him in game two, but he was definitely on the sideline. So, let me get over here to the comments for whenever y'all start showing up. We're gonna start with I'm going to start with breaking down. We're going to react to Chase Daniels' little 10-minute video here while we let people scroll on in. We'll watch a little bit of the QB School's analysis of his week one performance here. See what we can gather, because it's like I'm still in that early stage, even though I've been watching football since, well over 15 years now. It's still more the theory and the eye test haven't lined up yet. There's so much to learn. So what I can't really express in words and just kind of see through a feeling and just through what I'm seeing through the gameplay, we'll hopefully get lucky here with a great analysis from these two guys. So without further ado, let me get the old lapper up and going. I hope everybody's doing a-okay. Let me see here. There we go. Then we gotta go there it is. Sorry, I had to get that other side up and running. Perfect. So let's jump right into it. Let's get with the dry stuff first. Let's get in here with the quarterback school. He is quite knowledgeable, so he definitely puts a lot of the things that, like I was saying, that I see with the eye test, makes it all make sense with all the theory and everything that he does, and he knows about the game. So let's bring it out. Without further ado,
the QB School. I am JT O'Sullivan. Today,
Let's
JJ
go.
McCarthy preseason week 1, 2025, back from injury, locked in. Before we dive into the video, a quick reminder about the Quarterback School Patreon community. I really like how.
And before we get started, make sure to go check out the QB School. Oh, it's because I'm not signed. Duh. I'm like, how am I not signed? Like, I'm definitely subscribed. Subscribe, yeah. And if you're into that in-depth stuff, analysis that this guy makes, sign up for his Patreon. But let's get started with the analysis of his first play here.
They blocked the edge on this as well. Let's get into it. All right, JJ McCarthy preseason week 1, 2025, move the launch point, get us started. I really like how they blocked the edge on this as well. Get a little completion. Normally, I'd say an easy completion here. Not really an easy completion with how this thing is
a little bit behind.
We'll probably get into the weeds here about why this looks and feels slightly late for me. So what's going on here on all these nakeds keepers?
All right. So before he gets in here and breaks it down here for us, let me see if I can kind of guesstimate what he's saying here. Now, as he rolls out, I think that he threw it off the second step. I think he maybe wanted him to throw it as he came out of his rollout here and throw it on the run instead of taking that extra step, which may have been why he was threw it behind the receiver and why he feels late. Let's see what he has to say.
There's essentially someone in the flat, someone in the over, and when it's a condensed formation like this, someone to the corner.
Okay.
If it's normal splits, you get someone like in the comeback area. So you get this kind of, and really the read is almost usually first flat, second over, third, whatever's deep. Now, this is probably my least favorite way to do it when you have someone on the perimeter here, come down here and like faux block and then get out here. I dislike it the most because I just feel like it stretches this thing unnecessarily, makes the throw harder. So to me, it's just one of my least favorite ways to do it. Now, the thing that I love about
the
doing
further
this
stretch
with what they do with the fullback here is he comes across and instead of being the guy who gets out into the flat, which I normally think is a nice play, and we see it later for not much, this time he comes over and secures the edge. So again,
nice.
Who knows who's going to play in these preseason games? These dudes have dudes on the edges. Let's secure the edge, protect our quarterback who was hurt, and make it feel secure. Okay, so first let's just watch the concept, then we'll talk about maybe why this thing is a little late. So up top, see the Addison come down, get out of it.
See right there. See the six was
a great throw slightly behind him. Okay,
right?
If that wasn't there, you see the over.
Right here, is he probably be expecting
not going to have a lot there.
Oh.
So why is this late? The ball is on the 13. Right?
Right, because like I want to pause, make sure I don't get in trouble for copyright. We're not going to go through the whole 23 minutes. I just kind of want to see this first play here, just to see what he is thinking. Is for me, this was the kind of play that when it developed, I know it was a little bit late. The receiver, I remember saying in my previous live that that it was behind. It was a great adjustment by the receiver to make the play. But all the things that we needed to see out of this play were stellar. Like the protection we're talking about, the design, the way that it went exactly to where it was supposed to. I didn't really identify the ball being late. I was thinking the ball should have been more in the numbers, maybe just a little bit ahead and had a nice little toe tap. But I think that maybe he would have thought it was a little bit too late. And it makes sense, maybe, because if he catches it here, maybe around the numbers, he has a chance to make a football play. And that is probably going to be more beneficial in the long run if he can hit him there instead of right along the sidelines, right? So let's see how he progresses through his train of thought here.
The easiest way to think of this is where you want to touch for a quarterback usually on these naked or keepers is 10-ish yards deep. So anything shorter than 10 yards, you're going to feel like you're out there before. You usually want to be mirrored up with the over. So you want this kind of a relationship. But you also don't want to be so fast that the flat, whatever's in the flat, is not ready for you.
Okay.
But if you get anything plus 11 up here, like you start touching 12, 13, you're going to make these throws out on the sideline. They're going to be late. And that's kind of what happens for me here with JJ. This is just a little bit too deep. So the ball's on the 13. He comes out and touches, he almost touches the goal line.
He wants him to have,
and that's why this throw feels like it's so far wide. Now it might, it's just one of those things where you might be like, man, you're really nitpicky. Yeah, well, this is how the play is played.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of bones buried on these nakeds and keepers. And when you get that deep, the throw becomes that much more at the sideline. And now it's a little bit harder. And now we miss it. And
that's a possibility. That's a great point, because we don't want to be stuck in a situation where we are going for it. We really need to get the first down late in the third, late in the fourth, trying to either secure the tying score or the go-ahead score, and it's a little bit behind. We can't rely on the hands of our receivers, whether that's JJ or Jordan on the sideline there to make those catches. That's a great point. You don't want to rely on those, and you want to have a little bit more security in not security. You want to be a little bit more efficient, right? So if he throws like you said, if he takes a 10-yard drop instead of dropping 13 yards, and maybe comes right here, maybe it's more than the 2 steps, and he goes here, he might be able to get it to him just outside the numbers, and he might have a chance to pick up an extra yard or two. Giving him that chance at a football play, right? So let's look at how he talks about the next play. Let me see here.
So what I mean by that is it just works out perfectly. I think our quarterback has run this job again. I love the next one here. Third medium, we're going to run mesh railroad. This is a really nice job. Again, I love the play call. Super simple.
I like mesh plays
Every
too, just
quarterback has run this type of play
my
many,
Madden
many
experience.
times. I think you could make the argument potentially that you could put it on the rail, but this works out perfectly. It's not there. You get it right down to the mesh. It's a beautiful job of just going 1 to 2. Everything is right in your face.
And then he's just deciding
So
which side of the mesh he throws
here's
to,
the
depending
rail.
on where the defenders line up, right?
So that's usually one. And again, different teams teach it different ways. Some teams allow you to put it on this guy right away. Sometimes it's more down the field type throw. It's usually tethered with an over the ball hook and then that mesh element. So one of these guys coming across for the mesh. And that mesh is then going to have the guy on the backside coming underneath.
A little bit of a
safety, kind of the two. So
blanket with a potential shot.
And then usually 3 over the ball.
If that
and in man coverage, you're usually almost always going to get one of the first 2 reads.
Pretty damn good.
You see the backer up top here as he matches with that thing. We don't love it.
Great. He doesn't see the 3, so he takes
the potentially put it on him there and put a move on. Yeah, but I like the decision not to throw it. The only other thing here I would say
potentially his vision's already here anyway, so he's going to spot him first.
Again, different teams teach it different ways. All right, but this over the ball hook to me is best taught with this mesh as basically 2 moving screens. So very rarely do you want to run this over the ball hook with an avoid mentality. You want to make this linebacker go either violently under you or over the top.
Make a decision.
Help open up that rail. So if we're, they're probably saying, hey, let's not avoid any sort of contact or redirect there. Let's try to run through that backer.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, because look at Hawk right here. Look at Hawk right here. He
try to wall.
He totally runs into him right here.
That creates a space for the underneath mesh, and it's a nice, easy completion.
That's beautiful. That's some beautiful play design right there.
The kind of scaffolding here on these early pass plays.
Beautiful. I love that right there. That right there is some. Oh, I was. Let's go back to here, and I totally didn't show it. Let's rewatch that play. Because all you guys got was the audio, right? Or maybe you didn't get the audio because it was showing.
School. I am GTO Sullivan sideline. They're going to be late.
So this
that mesh element. So one of these guys coming across for the mesh, and that mesh is then going to. And in man coverage,
let's move up.
See them always going to get here. One of the.
We're seeing the play. So this is beautiful here because so he calls it perfectly. So what he's saying is that this play is here to draw out the. This receiver and then the tight end here are here more as moving screens, and their job is to kind of not look to avoid contact, just kind of try to stay their course. So then it forces the defenders to make a decision to go under or over, regardless of which one of these players are. As a result, it's going to give our mesh route coming from the opposite direction the ability to get open. So we're going to see that here. He's going to take that route here deep, pull this guy back, and he's going to look to not to avoid a contact. Same with Hawk. Hawk is a beast right here. Just nice little shoulder on shoulder here. And Addison with a nice little catch. You can
see the backer up top here as he matches with that thing.
Oh, he who was that? Let's go back here a second.
You can see the backer up top get one of matches with that thing.
He wants to get in his way, but he realizes that he right early he concedes the inside and goes wide and doesn't give him a chance to disrupt them at all. So it's a great heads up play here maybe from here because he's expecting maybe a quick dump out pass here, but Hawk doing a great job blocking or just being a nuisance here in the middle for Addison to just come away and get open.
We don't love it. Great.
Here we go. Little collision by Hawk. Oh, get out of my way. I'm just trying to
put a move on.
My route.
Yeah, but I like the decision not to throw it.
I love it.
The only other thing here I would say potentially,
Come on.
And again, different
Stop
teams
edging
teach
me.
it different ways.
Stop edging me.
right?
Let's see
But
the play.
This over the ball, 2 moving screen mentality for you. Run through that
Here we
backer.
go.
But you can see here, it's a nice job. They
Oh,
try
stop edging me.
the 3 up top.
Here we go. And then here we go.
That creates a space for the underneath
Addison
mesh.
catches the
and
ball.
It's a nice, easy,
beautiful little.
So again, you got to appreciate
Little
the
play
kind of
design.
scaffolding here on these
wrong.
early
You
pass
can't
plays.
go wrong.
Naked,
Ooh-wee.
move the launch point. Mesh railroad, ball comes out quick.
Beautiful.
And again, just watch
Look at the protection
here.
Let's take
He's
a moment
going
to
to
look
match
at
to
how
the
this
number
breaks
3,
down
right? The back
really
goes over
quick
here.
in
So
these
they've got
first
3
2
eligibles over here. So he's going to match, try to get hands on the
Look at
tight
that.
end.
Look at the
You
pocket.
can see 27 here wants to
You
pass
got
off this
all
underneath shallow,
the
the
time
mesh
in the
coming
world
back.
right here.
But it's
I
really
love
tough
it.
to do that when you've
I
already
love it.
collisioned.
It's looking freaking. It's looking pretty spicy, guys. It's looking pretty spicy when it comes to our Minnesota Vikings this offseason and the progress that JJ. To me, it looked a lot like a lot of poise. He was reserved. I didn't see him take any gunslinger shots like that. Like, he seemed like he was just trying to follow the game plan, which is really nice to see, which is his strength from what we saw in college. So I'm excited to see what's going on here. Now let's jump
Hellman's garlic
into
aioli.
Chase
Rich,
Daniel
creamy,
breakdown.
and oh, so irresistible.
Oh my goodness.
As Chase Daniel here. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Make sure you comment on this video. I will interact with you today. We're going to break down JJ McCarthy. There's only 7 plays, and it's going to be more of a detailed breakdown.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Here we go.
We got JJ McCarthy here.
Let's see what Mr. Chase has to say.
Debut was short. There's only 7 plays on here. We're going to get right into it. I think that there's a lot of good stuff on this film. The Mun's offense, I know Hawkinson, is that this offense, it just screams NFL offense. Like, I love watching Kevin O'Connell, and I love watching this offense. I know Hawkinson, the best receiver in all of football, JJ, Aaron Jones, all these guys, man, they're going to be really good. So let's play this first play. It's actually the second play of the game. Going to your left. Difficult throw, a little bit behind them. Pretty simple stuff right here. You're going to have lead strong. It's called BOSS, B-O-S-S, the run. So really heavy run action this way. You're going to have an escape route. I think that's Addison. I'm not quite sure. And then you're going to have a corner route. And you're just going to read 1 to 2. The biggest thing for this escape route right here, all right, is to affect this defender. You see how he's looking in? You want to almost stalk him in and go out. Big fake. Okay, it's hard going to your left.
I'm curious to see if he makes an observation about how deep he goes into his back pedal here. Give me 1 second. Oh, that's not the. Hold on. Okay.
Watch his foot fake right there. Really good. All right. Look at all these defenders that he's going up. There's only 8 dudes on this side of the field. So it's a really good job by the play call. You're going to come in. You're going to go out. You got to be able to snap those eyes. Exactly what he does. He gets a lot of depth.
Yeah.
You have the throw a little bit behind. I like this right here by the fullback. You're going and you're actually cutting. Okay, not a lot of people understand how to do that. I think it's great. I think exactly what you should do on this naked route. Just a small, easy completion.
Let's go, CJ Ham.
Move.
Big shout out to the Ham.
Show you the back.
The Hambo.
All right, and it's really difficult as a quarterback if you're going this way, going back to the left, to actually be able to throw it in front of your person. All right, here it is right here. Okay, it's difficult, but you got to get your head around, your eyes around exactly what's happening right here. You're sprinting outside. You have this guy right here cutting, and watch this in slow-mo. Okay, it's difficult. He gets his feet around.
It's a little bit behind.
Really nice throw. Just get that
Addison
first
makes
completion. Exactly what they do. All right, second play.
You know what? He didn't he didn't make the comment on how deep JJ McCarthy gets in on this play here, just like the previous breakdown that we had. It's funny to see how 2 different quarterbacks analysts see things differently, right? So the first guy that we saw from the quarterback school said that he would have liked to see him at a 10-yard drop, but if he was at the 10-yard, he probably would have been getting hit so he said 11 yards and above, the ball's going to come out late, which is why it's hitting him on the sideline, right? And Chase didn't mention that. But upon further inspection, it is what it is. JJ makes the right read. He strafes out a little bit wider than normal and trusts his receiver. So I can't complain, I think. So let's look at the next one here, how he breaks
and watch
down.
this throw just like it's just a
Here we go.
shell look. When I say shell, all right, that means a too high look. Too high. It could be quarters, which is cover 4, or it could be cover 2. Quarters, it looks like an umbrella. This to me looks like an umbrella. All right, they're going back, back, back. See what play they have
Cover
on right
3,
here.
cover 4.
JJ McCarthy using his cadence at home. One of the loudest stadiums I've ever been to. Nice little progression. Pretty simple. Okay. Guess what? They're running mesh. All mesh is going to end up running shallow crosses. Really nice find there. It's 3rd and 4. This is the very next play. You have a wheel route. You have a shallow cross. You have an over-the-ball hunt route and a shallow cross that way. Your read is 1 to 2 to the shallow cross to 3 to the hunt. And then sometimes, if you're really good, you can get back to 4. So
just like the QB
right here.
Said.
Quarters coverage, this is done.
There
quarters coverage, it's really, really good. When I say quarters, right? Every player has a quarter. Quarters coverage, the shallow cross is your way to beat it. You want underneath. There's only 3 underneath defenders.
And like he said,
you get this one out and you're able to cross this nickel. Number 3 is right there. Just an awesome job all the way around. Just going through progression, not being able to step up, and honestly dialing, putting a shot right on him. So he's going to go wheel route. 4-man rush. There's only 3 underneath defenders. You're going to flood the underneath zone with 4 receivers.
Hey, you can't go wrong.
There it is. 1, 2, 3. I'd love for him if he knows it's zone. And I don't know how they're coaching, so I'm not going to try to say that. What I've taught, if you know it's zone, take a 5-step drop. Because you're taking a 5-step drop to let this shallow cross right here get across. He's already back there. His foot's already hit. Now, they could be coaching it because you want to hit this fast. In quarters, though, you're going to get match coverage. You go across right here. Watch him just sort of waiting. Now he gets across. It's man, or it's a zone, but he's running versus that. Really nice ball placement.
It's wild how I think go check out this guy's video. Chase Daniel break it down. It's interesting how he's got a different point of view in comparison. So let's jump in to our NFC North breakdown. Let me see here. How do I... Oh, I guess I can bring this to the main monitor. We can remove that. Stop screen. Perfect. Let's start with our NFC North breakdown, right? We got those dirty Packers. We got the Detroit Lions. We got the Chicago Bears and our beloved Minnesota Vikings. All right, so I got a bunch of things written down. Some strengths, some weaknesses, some key players, things to watch out, and some recent news that I'd pulled up here. I was supposed to have this one done yesterday, but I ended up being having some terrible migraines, but that's here nor there. But here we go. NFC North breakdowns. Let's start with the Green Bay Packers. We got, let's look at their strengths. They got a strong offensive line. They got some good, solid players there. Aaron Banks, for example, he's on a $47 million deal. So he's a big deal as well. And Zach Thomas, is it? Hold on, let me pull up the Packers depth chart. Where is team? There it is. Let's go. Position center. It's Zach Thomas, right? Or am I thinking of somebody from another team? It's not pulling up. Either way, 88 million from him. Wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, guard. Aaron Banks, yeah, we got a bunch of little. That's really their one of their biggest strength is their offensive line. The Packers have always been really solid at building, at drafting and bringing up offensive linemen. They're just really damn good. So that's always going to be one of their big strengths, right? They also have like an interesting run game. Last year they didn't put like Josh Jacobs didn't put a ton of yards down, but he had a bunch of touchdowns, and he was, they were running a lot of weird things, some jet sweeps. So, he's a little bit of a bruiser, short goal line stuff. So they were a little bit deceptive in that run game. Turned out to be a strong positive for them last year, right? So their defense was up there. They had their ups and downs, and they have, the thing is they have a lot of quality players on paper, but they were suffering with a lot of injuries in their secondary and defense. So they're always pretty solid on that run stop though. So it's always been quite difficult for us, from what I can remember in general, the last couple seasons to get through them, right? So even and then I remember first game against them, they were, doing everything they could to prevent Aaron Jones from scoring a touchdown. And their pass rush has been great. It's been developing. We've got Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Preston Smith, Kingsley and Enigbar. But either way, solid pass rush that's developing over there. They have done a great job in certain situations, and I only expect them to become more consistent this year. So something to keep in mind when it comes to these Green Bay Packers, these greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers. But they do have they may have some strengths, but they do carry a bunch of weaknesses, in my opinion. Interior O-line right now, they're in the midst of some competition there, so there's some uncertainty. There might be some gelling. Maybe there might be some hiccups here and there. Maybe through some pressure and some adversity, we can, people can take advantage of these guys as they develop that chemistry. They've got some notable losses when it comes to their secondary, right? So Jair Alexander, where did Jair go? Where did he end up? Washington? Was it Washington? Something like that. Either way. So he's definitely one of those guys that can be a difference maker when he's out there, right? So we'll see how that secondary depth holds up this year, and how they've kind of addressed the holes or the gaps in the off season here. And to me, I think one of their weaknesses is Jordan Love. I'm sick and tired of sugarcoating it for this motherfucker. It's unbelievable what we do for this guy, a so-called Super Bowl quarterback. My ass, like unbelievable. Are you kidding me? As talented and as many flashes of greatness as that this dude has shown, which I'm not going to deny by any means. There have been just as many horrible lowlights that make you question if he is worth talking about in such high respect, right? Like Super Bowl quarterback, I don't think so. Playoff quarterback, 100%. You could even put in there playoff tested because he's in there. He's been in there a couple times now, so you know. But top tier, this heir apparent, next kind of no. Let's stop. Let's forget about this, right? Right off the bat, let's talk about how in his preseason debut here, he goes 3-and-out, and on the third pass, which was like a 3rd-and-8, if I remember correctly, it was a quick timing pass on quick slants to I forget the receiver, but either way, he wasn't able to lead the freaking receiver and put the ball ahead of him. He puts the ball in the numbers and gives the opportunity for the defender to get an arm or a hand in the way and knock the ball free. And that's exactly what he does. And the defender doesn't even look like the defender's trying to make a play on the ball. It looks like he's just trying to tackle him and bring him down as the guy makes the catch. So it's even worse, right? So at this stage in Jordan Love's career, that sort of 3-and-out should not be seen in preseason at all. From a starter of his caliber, he should have, at the very least, if he was feeling that rusty and we haven't seen, maybe he's, whatever the case, whatever massive excuse he should be pulling out maybe 3 points at the very least. Let's come on. For a guy that's supposed to be a Super Bowl quarterback, what is going on there? So to me, in my opinion, one of the weaknesses for the Green Bay Packers, alongside of that secondary depth, alongside of that uncertainty in their own line. It's not that they're not strong, because I already I've already addressed the fact that their O line is one of their strengths, but the uncertainty, that those moments, those hiccups that they can take advantage, that maybe a year from now or at the end of the season, there's no way you're going to be able to kind of pull off. That's going to be something to be taking advantage of early in the season, right? So as they gel. So key players to keep an eye out this season, I think Jordan Love, because one, we're going to be looking at this on a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of look, right? Are we going to be looking at how he's steadily progressing, or are we going to see a lot more of these late game off the back foot while trying to force a comeback, or something like that, and throwing interceptions, right? We saw that's how we threw games against Las Vegas, against the Broncos, against games over the last 2 seasons that a lot of teams, that a lot of people's majority opinion was that those Packers should have gone in there and handled business, and they flopped with Jordan Love at these decisions, right? So we're going to see this. Are we going to see the avoidance of this? We're going to see him move on from these silly mistakes and start playing at a high level and start being more precise and, picky and choosy when it comes to when he starts taking shots and being a gunslinger, and when he needs to be a franchise quarterback that needs to protect the ball, get rid of it when he needs to, and get what needs to be done on that play, right? Because he can't always find that needle to thread or that highlight play to get him out of that sticky situation. Sometimes preventing that with steady, consistent quarterback play, progressing down the field like the great Tom Brady did, is what is going to get you a lot of easy wins. So that's what we're going to be looking. Or we're going to see the downside. We're going to see the Hyde, the opposite, the coin of Jordan Love. And is he going to be struggling? Are we going to see an 11-4 record, or 12 with a bunch of these head scratcher losses that shouldn't make sense for a so-called Super Bowl caliber quarterback, right? So Josh Jacobs, another guy that I thought was going to take a little bit of time to gel and meld with that backfield, or that stable that they have there in Green Bay. But hey, he was doing pretty damn good. He was solid in Las Vegas. Don't get me wrong. I really liked him there. I was a little bit not really jaded or upset because it's not like I wanted Josh Jacobs when it came to that offseason before they signed him when we picked up Aaron Jones instead. I wasn't like upset, like, oh, we should have gone for him over Aaron Jones like that. It was just more of like, it was like a guy that I like that's going to a rival. That kind of sucks, more of a situation. So, but regardless, he fits LaFleur's like kind of wide zone and motion kind of schemes that he's got going on. We saw him used in some unique situations, and he pulled off some nice short short yard runs and some nice explosive kind of sneaky plays that didn't feel like we're gonna amount to much, but he was quite solid. Let's not forget about Kenny Clark. He's an elite inside anchor. Awesome player. So he's always going to be a strength. Rashawn Gary, that pass rush, man, he is a beast. He can get a little bit cocky, and we can kind of take advantage of that, like we did last year, and we've seen some of that, fussiness on the sidelines. But it is what it is. But we got some Green Bay Packers news when it comes to the preview or the review of the Packers going into this season. And so now that we've gone through the strengths, weaknesses, some key players, some notable young guys that are making some waves. Jordan Morgan's competing for a guard spot, right? Anthony Belton is also competing, right? Because as we've seen out of routers, Jordan, no. Here we go. So roster battles heating up out of A to Z Sports, talking about how the competition has intensified when it comes to the offensive line here in Green Bay, the interior offensive line, specifically mentioning Anthony Belton. So it's good to see when you think about it when you step back and you're not as a fan, you look at it as a student of the game, or just to see these young guys getting their opportunity and kind of developing. It's great to see these guys getting their opportunities and proving that they belong, especially with a team that makes a really strong O-line or has a really good way of developing O-line. Awesome to see there. Hopefully we can take advantage in we see them in week 9. By week 9, they're probably going to be gelled, but the Lions might be able to take advantage of that. The Bears might be able to squeak out a nice little win from these Packers, while these guys are if there's some notable changes to the O-line, right? Maybe as things are kind of solidifying in that O-line, maybe they can drop a loss here early in the season that can kind of help us Vikings out. But it's good to see. And some rumors speculating this week out of Green Bay, according to Yahoo Sports, about the Packers and the Lions have emerged as top contenders in the Trey Hendrickson trade sweepstakes that's kind of going on right now. A little bit reminiscence of last year and all the hype that was going on with Zadarius Smith, and who was the other guy? I forget. But either way, so interesting to see what's going on. Hopefully those are key distractions for these NFC North opponents, and we can get some notable losses on their records that we can take advantage of and capitalize. So welcome to Purple and Gold Bars. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. So let's move on now that we've kind of reviewed and previewed those Green Bay Packers. We'll do standings prediction and high or record predictions, high and low record predictions after we've gone through all the teams. So now that we've gone through Green Bay, what do you guys say? We got Detroit, our beloved Minnesota Vikings, and then we got those wily Chicago Bears trying to get up on that up and up like they always do in the offseason. So because we're right in the thick of the Bears Super Bowl hype window. They at this point in the season, the hype for their Super Bowl aspirations is at the highest, and their delusions are at the craziest. So maybe we should jump over there. Let's see what we got. What do I got for the Chicago Bears? Their strengths. Now, I wanted to put Caleb Williams as a weakness, but I ended up putting him down as a strength because I feel like he is still a talented thrower of the football. He still has a lot of physical arm talent that can't be overlooked. And I think that because he's been thrown to the wolves a little bit here, the last season with a lot of that scrambling and kind of having, that O-line was just a mess last year, right? I think that minefield and all that adversity has developed or has helped them develop some confidence in the pocket. And now, with all these additions that the Bears have done on their offensive line, with their addition to their new head coach, I think he's actually going to be a strength for the Chicago Bears this season. And he's not going to be a hindrance. I think there's still going to be a lot of just like last year, there's going to be so much new. And when it comes to changes with a new head coach, new schemes, new verbiage when it comes to their playbooks, new just philosophy in the whole everything. And it's Brian Johnson, right? He's going to be looking to really instill a whole new organizational culture when it comes to the Chicago Bears. And you know what? It's so weird for me because if they weren't in our division, I think I would probably be rooting for them based on just kind of like the pieces of their story, of their narrative, right? Like I'm a romantic, so I like romanticizing situations, right? So like I love documentaries when you go back and you see all the adversity and everything that they had to overcome and whatnot. So when you see teams that are like that, so like Washington was like that last year for me. A few years back when Baker Mayfield was drafted, and through those first 3 years, that was a team that I wanted to root for because I like seeing the underdog and I like seeing these guys that have a lot of adversity overcome to succeed, right? So if they weren't a division rival, I'd probably be more of a fan. But I think there's going to be so much new and adjustment. There's going to be a lot of hiccups and a lot of games that they should win. Could be remarkably closer, or maybe even losses, in games that they should lose. There are going to be some wins. It's going to be up and down, right? It's very similar to last year, but I feel like it's going to be a upward trajectory when it comes to them. Their wide receiver core, how did that somehow become elite, right? I like DJ Moore. I like Keenan Allen. Roma Dunze last year, I really like the kid. He's looking pretty good. And if he matures a little bit next year, that receiving core is looking pretty strong. I don't think it's going to rival our Minnesota Vikings receiving room, but they got something going there. So it has to come down as a strength when it comes to these Chicago Bears. And I think a lot of people are going to agree when it comes to that. And they have a lot of potential when it comes to their running game, right? They have the DeAndre Swift and the ability to get those sneaky run plays out of Caleb Williams, right? So there's a lot of things. I think last year, if I remember correctly, I think I remember seeing Roma Dunze doing a couple runs that are little like pitches or runs out of the backfield or running plays to him too. So they had some ideas there. Brian Johnson's going to go. Brian Johnson, their new head coach, he loves them trick plays, right? So, and if they got some of these elusive, players, that backfield, and that, I think that's that potential from that weird, run game has a lot of threat and potential there. So that's why I put it down as a strength for these Chicago Bears. And again, the defense was much improved last year. You can't go wrong. They're very last year. I love to say they were very. It was like one of those like old school kind of like ultimate hustle, kind of stick to the basics, nothing fancy, just kind of strong, solid defensive play from everybody as a team, as well as a lot of individual play. So I think that's going to be continue to be a strength, and it's going to continue to move forward when it comes to their defensive scheme. So I think they were a top 7 run defense last year, because we had a hard time running against them. And it was that second game was a crapshoot. I remember that was a weird game. So we had a lot of weird games last year. Hopefully, a lot of those learning games and a lot of that learning, that sauce, that mojo that we had to kind of go through, that adversity, those that's kind of behind us, and now that is just part of our experience, and we have a lot less of that, and we can start being the foundation for JJ. Unlike last year, where a lot of the uncertainty, we were lucky that we had certain players kind of offset some of the uncertainty that we had. Thank goodness for JJ. Thank goodness for Sam Darnold in a lot of situations. Big ups to him, right? Weaknesses, though. Their offensive line, I'm still putting it down. Although they made a lot of good pickups in the offseason and whatnot, late in the season, right at the trade deadline, if I remember correctly, they addressed some stuff like that, but it was still very inconsistent. Even though they made upgrades, it was inconsistent last year. In Caleb, there was a lot of times where I remember, because I want to see what these quarterbacks, how they're playing and how they're progressing, so that I have a good memory bank stored for when I start watching JJ in these first 5 weeks, to give me a good perspective of what I want to see in the outcomes that I want from JJ, right? So that he was, so he was running around. He did the best he could. So maybe there's a little bit more brotherhood or whatever, some more teamwork, some more consistency gets developed there. That is yet to be seen. Yeah, the on top, and then another thing too. Right now, as it stands, the next biggest, I didn't have too many weaknesses, because they're the biggest weakness. The two things that I had was the offensive line, and then the pass rush is still very, very reliant on Montez Sweat, right? The depth is lacking when it comes to that pass rush. So if he gets shut down, it's going to be reminiscent of when we had just Daniil Hunter. Remember that? Remember when it was awesome with Daniil Hunter, and he was getting home and he was ragdolling whoever, the double team or whoever he had in front of him, and he was still coming up with big numbers. It was great, right? But when he was stifled and our other side and our interior guys couldn't get it done, man, was that frustrating, right? So they're going to have some of that this season too. So unless they have someone come out and break out this season on their pass rush, I think that's very much going to be a weakness for them. So it's going to be very easy for coordinators to kind of scheme to the opposite side and maybe just tire him out, get him to the point where late in the fourth he's going to be not as effective, right? So weaknesses for those Chicago Bears, but all around a good story, a good story. See them in the rebuild. Like I said, if they weren't part of our division, I'd probably like them, And big shout out to Just Another Year Chicago Bears. We did I hung out with them on their live last year when they were playing in the UK the morning. So good guys out there. I totally enjoy those guys there. He gives her heart on his channel. Notable and key players when it comes to the Chicago Bears. We got Caleb Williams, of course, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Montez Sweat, Tremaine Edmonds, right? defensive leader. They got some pass rush, a veteran route runner, Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, man. When is he going to start slowing down? When is he going to start showing his age? Because my God, he is sweet. But hopefully that he loses that step and we capitalize and maybe we get some losses on their record that kind of benefit us, Minnesota Vikings, right? So I'm excited to see what Roma Dunze does in year 2. This guy, also another guy that I want that I'm excited to kind of see how he's progressing is Kieran. I don't want to mispronounce his last name. He's a developmental tackle, offensive lineman. See how he kind of brings in. Maybe he can steal a spot. That'd be kind of cool to see some news that way. But let's see here. So, in my opinion, I don't think we've seen Caleb Williams so far in the preseason, right? And I didn't see any headlines criticizing Ben Johnson off the top of my head about him not playing Caleb. Like I saw the criticism on JJ McCarthy. Oh, he only got 1 series. Why hasn't he been playing? He should be getting reps. He's missed the whole year. But yada, yada, yada. Maybe they saw enough and they are confident in everything that they've seen through his progression. So there's no need to push it. And from what I saw in that drive, go check out those 2 breakdowns. The QB school, Chase Daniel, those 7 plays, I think showed all the things that we needed to see out of JJ McCarthy. I'll go a little bit more into depth, but that poise, his ability to get the ball out, and that pocket protection, our players. Man, it's gonna be weird not having Jordan Addison for those 3 games, but it's okay. We will make do. We got a generational talent on the wing there, anyway. So, Tyson Bagent in that one game felt like it was so weird. Tyson Bagent might just be a regular season quarterback because he looked mediocre. So yeah, let me see here. And then when it comes to some notable news, when it comes to the Chicago Bears, I did see some trade rumors on Heavy Sports that the Bears may be looking to pursue running back Brian Robinson from the Washington Commanders. What is going on with Washington, right? Scary Terry requests a trade, and now there's rumors that people are actively pursuing players on that roster. Very freaking weird to me. After having such a solid year, why would things be falling apart? Like, what is going on? Like, I am excited to see. Man, Hard Knocks wasn't following them last year, but I'm excited to see what the 30 for 30 or whatever it is in a couple of years. What happened in this? Like, what happened? Like, it seemed to me like they were gelling. They had the beginnings of something special, and for their veteran receiver and now their running back, their star running back potentially being on the block, very, very weird. Very weird. There we go. I don't know if that was last year or this year, but if that is still relevant and new, cornerback Terrell Smith suffered a non-contact knee injury during the preseason. That might be a from last season, but either way, that's what we got when it comes to our Chicago Bears. Not our Chicago, the Chicago Bears, not ours. We're the Minnesota Fighting Vikings here. But let's head out to these Detroit Lions and check out some of these strengths and weaknesses that they got going on, because man, I got a prediction for these guys, man. Ooh, I am doubling down and I am tripling down in honor of my friend Catch, because I feel like a lot of the things that he said have been proven to be very accurate when it comes to these Detroit Lions. But we had to be honest and look at these strengths and weaknesses, and there's no sugarcoating it. Their offensive line has been elite. Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, right? Like these guys, Taylor Decker, right? Like these guys, in that one game against them in the in Detroit, when they pick up that stunt, I forget, but either way, how he spins into that block out of just intuition. They do some beautiful stuff when it comes to their blocking schemes and their just overall talent when it comes to these guys. They are the cream of the crop. They have been top tier for a long time now. And Penei Sewell has been, he is so good, man. It's unreal. Jared Goff. I'm still going to put Jared Goff, although in the end of season Vikings versus Lions showdown where we had our conversation with our Detroit Lions friends, all that shit talking that they had with Sam Darnold, I turned around and said, what are you guys talking about? We basically have the same guy, except for your guys like 2 years ahead of ours. So guess what? He performed a little bit better. And what happened? What happened in their loss? He fell apart just like I said he would. So I want to throw that out there. Shout out to Jared Goff and proving me right in the playoffs last year. I said you would fall apart. You would be most likely to fall apart just as much as Sam Darnold did. And you proved me right, sir, but I still think you were a great thrower of the football. That's why I still put you as a strength, because I saw what you did in the regular season. So he's definitely an elite quarterback. He's got a great arm. He's got great vision. He protects the ball very, very well. He threw so little interceptions, sub 10 interceptions last year. So come on. On top of the fact that he's got such a strong offensive line, giving him so much freaking time, guys, can't be anything but a strength. He's no longer a weakness, like they believed over in LA with the Rams. So another strength out of these Detroit Lions, their dynamic backfield. Let's just give it to them. Sonic and Knuckles, you guys are incredible. I tip my hat to you guys. It's unreal what Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery can do. Jahmyr Gibbs is unreal. I really like the guy. I'm not going to lie. He runs really nice. Except for when he's playing against us. When he plays against us, that's when I want him to struggle the most. And I want him to just be terrible. But you got to give props to the young man. He has developed into an explosive playmaker. David Montgomery, what a power back. Old, reliable, old, faithful. But in a few games there, he was held to really low yardage. I know, because I lost a lot. There was one parlay, I think it would have won like a good $400 on, and David Montgomery was one of the guys that totally shit the bed for me. I think I was even had him down for something stupid like 25 yards, and he shit the bed with like 18 yards rushing that week. And then look, another week, another week, like he had him down again. And he ended up putting like freaking 5 yards up or something stupid. So he is still a good running back. Defensive front, you can't go much further than Aiden Hutchinson, or can't start the defensive talk when it comes to these Detroit Lions without mentioning or without starting with Aiden Hutchinson. Man, that guy is a generational talent. That boy is dynamic on all different levels. And I watched a couple videos last year when I was looking into as much about him post his injury. And I remember watching a breakdown of how dynamic he is, although some of his fundamentals were very raw and he was doing certain things not in the greatest with the greatest technique, which is potentially why he was adding so much pressure to those to his shin and his knee, and why he ended up breaking his leg while he drive through on that play. But just through his own strength and whatnot. Incredible dude. I wonder how much he's going to lose when it comes to after that injury. But regardless, I think he's still going to be dynamic. I think he's still going to be able to find ways to be more than impactful, even if he has lost some of his ability after that injury. Still putting him down as a strength. The physical identity, I put it down. I had to be cringe when it came to these freaking Detroit Lions. Yes, Dan Campbell, their physical identity, I put it down. They are grimy. They are gritty. They don't give up. They're like that annoying little chihuahua that will just ankle bite all the way until it just breaks you. And you just end up kicking the little thing. But don't do that to little dogs. I'm just joking, hypothetically, in your mind, of course. And you just want to snap, right? But they're good at getting under your skin. They're good at pushing your buttons, at being physical and constant in your face. And they had a stat last year that they were boasting about how teams, after they play them, they suffer a loss the week after, just due to the sheer raw power, or just the gritty grimy, like the physical gameplay. They're just so run down and beat up that the next week they're just not fully recovered and they can't perform at their top, so they usually struggle. They have that slump after playing them. So that physical identity, that's the reason why I put that down as a strength. But their weakness, their secondary is vulnerable. Despite adding talent, they were exposed and have been exposed by top tier quarterbacks over the last 2 seasons. So that secondary, even though that piece of shit Kirby Joseph is still out there, hunting down ACLs, that piece of shit, that secondary is still a vulnerability for him. That's why I put that down as a weakness. And I was kind of struggling at finding a lot of weaknesses, because they are on paper a very complete team. But one thing I put down that could be very, very detrimental to them is when they have any injuries to their O-line, which is kind of said that for every team, of course, but because their O-line is so top tier, when those injuries hit them, it really downgrades their potential, right? So that is a massive chink in their armor when it comes to weaknesses that teams can try to exploit, try to be extra rough, try to be extra, you know, putting it to them and see if they can break that offensive line. Although a lot have tried, not very many, if any, have succeeded. That O-line is incredible. Still, that's what I kind of put as kind of like a potential weakness in their offensive line. And let's not forget that pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson is very inconsistent, even when they added Zadarius Smith, right? So, but they're going to be fresh. It's a whole new offseason. So we're going to see how this team comes out the gate. Last year, the biggest thing that I said about the Lions last year is because I, like everybody, had put them as a front runner for the Super Bowl, and because of what I had seen the year before. And what I wanted to see based on the year before, where they had some really weird losses. They had a weird loss to Tampa Bay, and then also to the Ravens and stuff, like the previous year, not last year, but the year before. And I classified that they struggled in playoff like games the year before last year. And so I wanted to see how they did in playoff like games last year, and they did not stumble. I think they actually improved in their performance when it came to playoff like games last year in comparison to the year before. So that's something that's going to be that we're going to have to see going into this year if they can keep that up, right? So key players to keep in mind, right? They got Jared Goff, they got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, right? So a lot of good players on paper. They are stacked. Now let's go over and check out some of the news that I found when it comes to these Detroit Lions. Rookie edge rusher Ahmad Hussein suffered a serious pectoral injury and is out, according to Pride of Detroit. Preseason standouts. Several players turned heads in the Lions' third preseason game, spotlighting depth across the roster. Detroit Lions. And like I said earlier, when we were talking about the Packers, the Detroit Lions have also been tied to the Trey Hendrickson sweepstakes that's going on right now. If they can pick up another high-profile pass rusher to pair up with Aiden Hutchinson, that's going to be freaking scary. So it's going to be all about really picking on that secondary and getting that ball out as quickly as possible before those guys do some damage, because that's going to be scary for anybody that faces that O-line if they pick up Trey Hendrickson. So last but not least, we have our Minnesota Vikings. So let's quickly recap the Detroit Lions strengths: their O-line, their quarterback, dynamic backfield, and their ability to bring in some guys like even St. Brown has some running plays, right? Their defensive front, Aiden Hutchinson, even coming off the injury, their physical identity. Yes, we get it. When you play the Lions the next week, you struggle. So a lot of strengths, but some weaknesses, right? They have, if being so good at their at offensive line, if they take an injury or if there is some uncertainty at the O-line, it's a severe downgrade to what they are without that player, right? So a lot of fun things. Hopefully some teams take advantage of and give us a nice favorable season and record to go up against these guys. But yeah, moving on to these Minnesota Vikings, we got strengths. We got to start off with our generational talent, Justin Jefferson, elite wide receiver one. Jordan Addison, breakout receiver. He is no longer a secret, but he is going to be missing these first 3 games due to suspension. We got a great creative defensive scheme that we have out of Brian Flores that we've seen him consistently improve since he's gotten here. Don't get me wrong, I was not fully sold when it came to him coming when we first signed him. I remember we were projected to be number 28th overall in defense that season, and he brought us up to like 16th, 17th, maybe even 15th in the league. So that massive improvement kind of pinned my ears back and made me go, I should probably pay attention to what this man's doing. And last year we saw what he did to those Houston Texans, how he put CJ Stroud in a blender and really confused the hell out of them. And they threw in the towel. When I thought they were about to try to make another run for it, they just threw in the towel. They benched CJ and said, you got us, right? We saw a lot of creative defensive schemes throughout the entire season that only kept improving or evolving from the year before. A lot more glue guys that we picked up, like Van Ginkel, Blake Cashman, that kind of came in and have kind of been able to bring out that next level defense or those next level schemes that Brian Flores has been secretly writing down since his Patriot days, right? So what is going to happen this year? I still think it's going to be another step forward. And so we're going to remain elite. And I want to see how Brian Flores evolves now. I know that he's going to implement more of his strategies. He's going to bring in a bunch of things as he brings more players. Oh, Northfield, what's going on, buddy? I have been working and a lot of ups and downs, but we are back, son. It is almost week 1, but when it comes to Brian Flores. I feel like he's going to increase a whole bunch of, add more stuff to the to the defense, and add more mystique. But what I really want to see is how he gets creative late in the second half of games when the other team throws their haymaker. I want to see how he handles adversity when other teams out scheme or really come up with some good defensive strategies or offensive strategies to counter his ideas, and see how he's been able to see how they've kind of attacked him last season, and how he's going to adjust this season. So I'm tremendously excited to see Eric Lapointe, my friend from New Mexico. Thanks for hanging out and coming and stopping on by. I'm excited to see. So we are breaking down the strengths, and right now we are talking about the defense and the creative schemes that Brian Flores hopes to come up. And I hope he evolves to another form, and we see a bunch of stuff that he's been cooking up, and we really dial it up to another level. Because if he brings it up another notch, and the rest of the offense, everybody outside of JJ McCarthy, if they step it up, I think we are going to be just embarrassing people and turning heads the entire season. So I'm extremely pumped up for this season. Now, let's look at our third strength that I got put down here. I have an improved secondary. Let's go. Our young secondary that we had some injuries last year, so hopefully we can come in. Let's see if we can bring it up a notch. Let's see if we can. I don't think we've signed anybody yet. The whole Jalen Ramsey saga, I wasn't a fan of anything like that. What I would like to see is us, if we're gonna bring someone that's gonna be a veteran, I'd like to see a younger veteran. I don't think we ended up being in the market or being able to pick one of those guys up. But if that's what I'd like to see, us go with our own guys and make a move for someone if we need to later on down the road. Just because I feel very confident in what we're going to see out of this pass rush. I think Dallas Turner is going to have a great breakout season. Something feels right about him this season. I just don't know why. I feel like he's locked in. I feel like he's going to be just let loose this season. So I'm excited for our pass rush, our linebackers, and our secondary. Weaknesses. I had to play a little devil's advocate. I'm going to put JJ McCarthy as one of our weaknesses, even though I don't feel like he's a weakness. Let's get it straight. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to the comparison to the rest of the team, because our team is pretty stacked, when we look at it on paper, like, man, we got superstars, we got generational talents, right? So like, he's not there yet. So like, in comparison to those guys, yes, I guess you could consider him a weak spot, but it's more that he's unproven and not that he lacks skill or the ability to run the position. Because I feel, based off what I saw in that first game, those 7 drives, man, with Rap, is he live right now? Is Rap live? Oh man, I'm a jackass if he's live, because I did not mean to go live if he's live. I'd love to, but I definitely would love to. Oh no, yeah. If he was, are you guys going out to? Anybody you guys going to be out to Skullfest? But man, because that's going to be fun. I'm going to be down there for home opener. It's going to be an incredible time. I'm excited to go golfing with Lefty. But yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. That'd be awesome. I'm definitely ramping up now that we are literally like right around the corner. It's about time we are going to be starting doing these dailies, whether it's going to be a live or an upload, maybe some thoughts. I've gone out already this summer. I've gone and done a bunch of on location shooting because I'm going to do some really cool transitions. I have some fun stuff planned for this season. So stay tuned, especially for Detroit Lions versus Vikings in Detroit. I think I'm going to go see that game. I have something lined up for that week at the very least. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of time. It's going to be some good stuff. But weaknesses. Let's get back to the weaknesses. O-line inconsistencies. Only because of Christian Darrisaw coming back off of injury, a little bit of some spotty play from Brian O'Neill at times. Thank goodness we don't have Mark Ingram in our O-line anymore. I think I'm glad that we've definitely upgraded at O-line. So there's going to be some synergy and some cohesions, kind of like that teamwork. They need some time to gel. So I'm hoping that, because I'm super optimistic. I feel like they're just going to fall right into place, and they ain't going to have that many hiccups. But let's be real, it's going to take some adjustment. There's going to be a couple things where they're going to be thinking, oh, I thought you're going to go this way, or I thought you're going to do this, and things are going to go break down in certain ways, but that's going to be expected. Hopefully a lot of that kind of is out of their system by like week 3, and it doesn't really affect many games, and it's just something that we don't ever really have to talk about again. And then we got some defensive line, maybe inconsistency, or maybe some be a little bit unproven, right? Because we've lost a couple players there, and it's going to be interesting to see if Mr. Dallas Turner can really turn it up this season. I really feel like he's going to have a breakout season. I just don't know why, but he looks primed and ready to go. Our key players: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, of course, after he comes back from that 3-game suspension. Hitman Harry, our first ballot Hall of Famer. Let's be real. Hitman Harry is going to be a first balloter. I don't see. I can't wait. Oh, you're going to be there. Oh, that's going to be a good one. Oh man, I can't wait to see you at Skullfest, man. But Hitman Harry, that leadership role at his ripe old age is unreal. What the heck, Brian Flores? What were you thinking, having that man running up and down? He's the oldest man on the field, and you had him sprinting up and down like he was a 20-year-old. Maybe that's just a testament to how incredible Hitman really is at his job and his physical ability and his genes being incredible. Man, imagine having those kind of athletic genes. That'd be sick. He's a hell of a player. So key player Christian Darrisaw coming back. I hope there's got to be no hiccups. It's just straight back to the old reliable Christian Darrisaw. I feel like a key player is definitely going to be JJ McCarthy. I saw a lot of poise. I didn't see the thing that I didn't see from JJ McCarthy was huge procedural mistakes. I saw him feel comfortable in the pocket. I saw him feel comfortable in the huddle, and calling out the mic, calling out audibles, being in control in the situation. He didn't seem like a fish out of water. I didn't see him do the things like, oh, it's like a play action pass, and he hands off to the right when the running back is to his left. I didn't see like the weird procedural stuff that 2-3 years ago or were really getting on my nerves. It's like, how are we getting these really bad procedural like offsides, these delay of games, all these things that need to be ironed out and that just need to be coached out just through not consistency, through discipline, right? He didn't have happy feet. He didn't have all these signs of just kind of being lost in the moment. He didn't look like Andrew Luck either. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying he was out there looking like a field general and he was looking like the second coming of Andrew Luck at all. I'm not saying that either, but he looked poised. He looked like he was in a great state, and looks like he's been coached very well. and I'm excited to see how he turns out this season. That's why I have him as a notable player. And last but not least, one of my notable players, I've been talking about him already, Dallas Turner. I think he's breaking out this season. I just, intuition, all the little highlights that I see, because I've been watching every single piece of footage that I can find from training camp, from shorts, from people, from even just like random people uploading from their perspective in camp. He looks hungry. He looks like he's doing really, 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 really good. So I'm excited to see how much of the playbook and how much responsibility Brian Flores is going to have with Dallas Turner this season, because I feel like he's fully confident in him. And if he unleashes him and he breaks out, and we're off to the races, boys. We are off to the fucking races, and it's not even going to be funny. It's not even going to be funny. We're going to be shocking people like we did last year. And they're like, how are these Minnesota Vikings 5-0 to start against teams that we thought they were going to lose to? They were supposed to lose. They were supposed to win 3 games. They're supposed to win maybe 5. The AI simulation ran it 2,200 times. The Vikings are going to be 32nd every single time. Every single simulation had the Vikings last or second last. Go fuck yourselves, because we have something that a lot of people can't put tangible numbers behind, that an AI cannot freaking account for. That's why we did so good last year, and that's why we're going to do so good this year. And I'm so exciting. We got some off-season news here. Yo, how about Brosner? That kid looks like he could be a solid backup. I know he was going up against all the guys that were going to get cut, the 3s and the 4s, all the freaking scrubs and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter that at the very end of the game, when I expected freaking Sam Howell to come in on a 2-minute drive, just because he's the backup, right? So I thought, hey, this is a great situation to have him practice this in a almost NFL speed situation, because you never know. JJ McCarthy might take a bad hit late in a single game. He might not be allowed to come back for whatever reason for the rest of the game. Maybe he's ruled out, whatever it is. And this is a prime situation for Sam Howell to get those reps. And they threw those to the young man, and the young man almost delivered. How about that 4th down play? Man, he had that interception at the end. You know what? I'm not even upset. Had he made that pass and they gone for 2 and tied it up or whatever, and just made a heck of a finish to it, I would have been just as happy. But what was really cool to see out of him is that confidence to just let it rip. You know what I mean? Like, he just freaking had some signs of a guy. It was like, I hate to bring him up, but remember in Washington when RG3 went down late in the season, and every single time Kirk Cousins came in, there's like 7th round pick, undrafted dude, second pick, he's drafted in the 6th round, whatever it was for him, right? He always came out and people are like, that guy could throw the ball a little bit. It kind of gave me that similar feeling of like, man, Brosner can kind of throw the ball. And it's kind of nice if he wins a spot, we end up rolling with 3 QBs and to have him out there, you know what I mean? Like, hey, Sam Howell, if there's too much for you for old KOC to fix, I wouldn't be surprised if they stuck with this young man just based on the potential that we've seen over the first couple games here. And especially to give him that 2-minute drive, like, man, unfreaking real. So that brings me to the prediction and standings. Let's start with the standings. Let's start with some bold predictions for the NFC North, okay? Bold prediction number 1. I will be surprised I will be shocked if the Detroit Lions win more than 10 games. I said it. I just have a feeling. I'm doubling down. I feel like a lot of the things that Catch was talking about last year, rest in peace, my dude. Man, think about you all the time. A lot of these things, he wasn't wrong. Same old Lions came out in the playoffs, and you know what? Your Cinderella story, your 3-4 season, you guys come out every 30 years. You know, I feel like this is that season where you guys just fall apart, maybe get 9-10 wins and squeak on in there, and just it breaks. You know, the departure of Ben Johnson's going to be a lot for you guys. I feel like there's going to be some issues there. And that's why I say bold prediction. I would be very much surprised if they won more than 10 games. There we go. There we have it. Another bold prediction. Jordan Love is going to look more like a bust this year than any year prior to now. So bold prediction number 2. Jordan Love, so-called Super Bowl caliber quarterback, in my opinion, this year is going to look more like a bust than a superstar. Mark my words. Oh, man. God help those Packers. Those are my 2 bold predictions for the NFC North this season. I'd love to throw the old Homer prediction in there. JJ McCarthy's winning 16 games in his rookie. Nah, we're not going to throw that Homer, because you know what? It's realistically, it's very, very hard to make a bold prediction like that because of so much uncertainty, and we really have there's really nothing to fall back on, right? There's going to be some ups and downs, some hiccups here and there. So I just don't, as high hopes as I have, I just don't think it's going to be like a 7 undefeated season. Well, I don't think it's going to be that dynamic. I think it's going to be very impressive. I think he's going to be turning heads. I think he's going to be shutting up a lot of critics. That's for damn sure. I don't think that's a hot take though. So that's why I didn't put it in there. But let's move on to these season predictions for the Minnesota Vikings. I got a high side and a low side prediction for every single team in the NFC North. On the high side, on the Vikings, I have them coming in at 14 wins on the season. 14 wins, 3 losses? 14-3, right? And then on the low side, I have them winning 11, losing 6. That's a hell of a season, if you ask me. So I think it's totally possible. I think we have the dynamic roster. I think we have the creativity when it comes to our defensive schemes to steal some play. Like we saw it last year. We won games that we had no business winning, whether it was because of our own fault and our inability to convert or just get our motors going, or games where we kind of turned the tides and we won, where people were like, wow, okay, maybe these guys, a lot of those guys, I know a lot of the critics were saying they were flukes, but a lot of us Vikings fans where we were turning back and thinking maybe these guys are the real deal. And I think we only get better, and the roster is still, I think, in my opinion, the best in the division. I think we edge out the Detroit Lions when it comes to roster strength. And that's why I have them at 14-3 and 11-6 on the low side. When it comes to these Chicago Bears, I think it's going to be a productive season. I don't think it's going to be a Super Bowl run like Nick Wright would have predicted last year. I don't think he's going to make that stupid mistake this year, unless he is. If he is, man, is he stupid. But I think they are going to see some marginal improvement. I think there is still a factor when it comes to the ownership of Detroit, and that organization has in history been the reason to hold them back. In recent history, been the ones that have kind of like self-sabotaged that negative atmosphere. Maybe Ben Johnson can fix it. There's a possibility, not a high possibility. There's a possibility that he can do so. But I don't think they're going to be in that top end. That's why on their high side, I feel they're winning 9 games. They're going 9-8. On the low side, I feel they could win 6, lose 11. So I feel like that's a very realistic prediction. High side, low side for the Chicago Bears. They are talented. Like I said, they in my preview earlier or my review earlier, I would, like I said, if they weren't in our division, they have all the narrative pieces that makes me want to kind of root for the underdog, right? They got a guy that's coming in here, a new head coach that's kind of, things differently than other people, and they got a rookie quarterback that people thought was going to be better, and now, is he going to be, there's all these narratives. It's compelling, but alas, they are rivals, so I can't root for them, and they are not my team, although I do like what they're doing over there. The Green Bay Packers. These Green Bay Packers, I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. I think on the high side, I have them coming in with just 10 wins, 7 losses. On the low side, I have them on at a 6 wins, 11 losses. Now, I feel like I feel regression coming from this team. Ever since that, I can't get that first drive out of that preseason game with Jordan Love. How do you go 3 and out as a so-called Super Bowl caliber quarterback? I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You should have at least gotten 3 points. And the 3 and out that you went out on that third down, the 3rd and 8 or whatever the frick it was, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 it might have been actually. But that pass on that quick slant, how you don't throw the ball and lead your receiver, that would have been an easy first down, and you could have kept the chain moving. But that is such a rookie, like mediocre quarterback mistake to make. And for a quarterback that's supposed to be so good, I'm just not sold. I wasn't sold on him last year. I kept saying, I think he shows flashes. I think he's got some potential. But let's be real. 2 years ago, he threw a bunch of game-ending interceptions to fucking Las Vegas. Last year to the Broncos. There's just a bunch of freaking games where late in the game, he gets too much in his head. He threw one to us. Remember last year? Threw one to us. He off the back foot trying to make something happen late in games, trying to go for the go ahead or trying to get that tying score. He's been throwing interceptions, which is not elite, which is not Brett Favre like. Brett Favre threw interceptions like that. I'm not saying that he didn't, but they weren't against trash teams. And they were in glory, in like high stakes glory moment situations where he threw them, right? But I just don't see it. That's why I'm putting them on the low side of 6. I feel like we're going to see regression from these Packers this year. They've lost some players on their defensive line, like I was mentioning earlier. I just am not sold. I think that's why. So let's move on. I've already talked about it, but let's reveal the high side on the Detroit Lions. I have them the same at a 10-7 record. And then on the low side, I have them a little bit higher than the Packers with 7 wins and 10 losses. So a little mirror opposite, because I feel like they are very much a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type team, especially this year. Last year, I thought they were a contender. I was looking to see how they performed in playoff-like teams or playoff-like games, and they performed very, very well. Games that the year before they struggled in, like when the Ravens showed up and smacked them in their face, right? And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had a lot of these stumbling games late in the season, the previous season, and I wanted to see if these Detroit Lions, how they handled those. And when they did very well, I thought to myself, they might have it. But as the season progressed, as we started seeing what was going on, we saw how it turned out. So, but either way, that's how I have it lined up. And when it comes to the standings, I have our Minnesota Vikings taking the number 1 spot, followed by the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers tied, potentially at 10 wins apiece, maybe 9 wins apiece, and then trailing not too far behind with 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9, maybe a 3-way tie. Those Chicago Bears trying to make improvements as they continue to rebuild and trying to find that new identity. Maybe find a way to push out the organizations, whatever that they got that's destroying their team. But you know what I mean? I feel like it's gonna be a solid season. I really appreciate that, North. Yes. And yeah, how do you guys see it? What do you guys think about these Detroit Lions, these Chicago Bears, and these grimy Green Bay Packers? I feel like this season is going to be the season where we really stake our claim as a team to be not only worried about, but a team that people need to be preparing for and not sleeping on, because I feel like we're going to see a lot of good things out of our Minnesota Vikings, and that's why I have them coming in with such a high winning record, as well as being the number one seed in the NFC North. And no, the top seed in the NFC North. I don't know where we're going to land when it comes to the NFC North standings, but a nice quick recap for those who just joined us. I got the Vikings high side 14-3, low side 11-6. The Bears, I have them at the high side 9-8, low side 6-11. The Packers and the Lions on their both high sides, very similar at 10-7. The low side on the Packers 6-11, and the low side on the Lions at 7-10. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Detroit lit. Oh, yeah. I just don't think they got. I feel like we see a downward spiral. Like I was made aware in a lot of our Vikings and Friday night talks with the boys, with Tony and the boys, especially with our history. I loved going to our history, our Wednesday night history talks, because I love to hear about the history of our Minnesota Vikings, because I wasn't around and I'm not as versed with the history of our team like the boys are. But I remember hearing a lot about how, every 30 years or so, the Detroit Lions make up a good run, and they make a good push for it. But they never quite make it to the Super Bowl ever. I don't think they ever have, right? So it's about time that the midnight strikes 12 on them. So I think that's what's going to go on. So any questions? Thanks for hanging out, guys. What do you guys think? Any questions? Any observations? Any hopes? What do you guys? Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think the Vikings high side prediction, wins, loss total, and low side? If everything goes wrong, kind of prediction. Not like everything goes wrong. If everything goes wrong, 0 wins, of course. But I don't think we're gonna fall apart like that. But I'm talking about like if as well as we do, we just can't perform to our, like what is the best low case scenario? Lefty, what is up, my brother? Thank you for popping by. Are you on lunch break? Are you working? Little recap for you, Mr. Lefty. I got Vikings coming in at number 1 in the NFC North. I got a potential 2-way tie with 10 wins from both Detroit and Green Bay, followed behind with maybe 7, 8, 9 wins, maybe a potential 3-way split or 3-way tie with those Chicago Bears. I feel like it's going to be a lot rougher. I think we are the cream of the crop when it comes to the NFC North. I think we prove it this year. So it's going to be good. Man, I am pumped. Oh, man, I am so pumped. I can't wait for golfing. What time? What time you think for our tea time? 2? Yeah. I swear, man. How does man? As soon as Jordan Love, like a couple days last week, I watched. I broke down every single NFC North team's first drive. And I land like 8, 9 in the morning, but I have to pick up my rental car at 10 a.m. And hopefully we can get to the hotel and drop off our stuff if they don't let us check in. for them to hold, because I don't exactly want to be leaving luggage and stuff in the car. And then I can get dropped off or get picked up, and then we can, I'm in Canada. And so I should be free by noon, 1 o'clock. I feel like, because I feel like I land at 9 a.m. Oh, no. It's a 2 hour, it's a two-hour flight. I leave at 7 a.m. Eastern time, and I arrive at 8 a.m. Mountain time or Central time. And so I have my appointment to pick up my car rental at 10 a.m. And then driving time from there, I'm staying at the Spark in Eden Prairie, maybe. Oh, that's sick, dude. Because I think I'm gonna leave because my dad's coming with me. I've never really had like a big like trip with my dad as an adult. Like I had a lot of travel soccer tournaments, and just, a lot of travel soccer and basketball tournaments and stuff growing up. And so I've had that as a kid, but never had a sports or like a vacation with my dad. So me and him are going down, but he's not a golfer, so we're gonna, unless maybe he might come on the just kind of be like my caddy or whatever, chill. But I was thinking I'd probably gonna leave him the vehicle, because he likes to head out and look for like Latin food restaurants and go and find Latin people and start, hitting the old salsa and just kind of, conversing with the local Hispanic community. So he will most likely want to be doing some stuff like that. And I want to go hit 18 holes before we hit Skullfest. So that's going to be good. Is it just us two? Do you know if anybody else is going to go golfing with us, or if anybody else golfs? Norris, do you golf? You're going to be out there. So let's play Lefty. You know how to golf, right? I'm a beginner, because we're gonna have to play some scramble, right? Best ball or whatever. Some scramble golf. I'm just getting into it. I'm gonna have to rent a set and everything, because I'm definitely not bringing my set. It is not nice enough or good enough set to bother. You used to. Well, freaking yeah. I just started I've only been golfing actually seriously for about 3 weeks, almost a month now. So by the time I go, I should have my first 2 rounds of 18 holes, because I've gotten some golf lessons with the golf pro at the local golf course. So my local golf course is actually Mike Weir's golf course here on Oak. So I get to train with a golf pro that is actually one of his childhood friends, that he's just not as good of a golfer as Mike Weir was, but this guy named Dave at the golf course that I go. So he's been helping me with learning golf. Still a work in progress, but I can get a couple nice shots around that, some best ball. So I think it's gonna be good. Oh, really? They were bad like me? But might have to take a bunch of mulligans. No, I'm really trying to. I don't want to take any mulligans. I really want to take it seriously. So count on my strokes and be diligent, so that I can kind of whittle down my handicap and really be serious about progression, right? Because if I'm like just like writing down whatever, like I'm not going to progress ever. I'm never going to get good. But I have been having a lot of fun playing some golf. But yeah. Hell yeah, guys. Man, Skullfest is going to be a lot of fun. Norris, I can't wait to see you there. I'm going to bring my dad there to Skullfest too. He is quite the wacky guy. He's fun. Me and him aren't big drinkers, but I might have a few beers. I definitely am going to be trying to find some cigars. That is definitely something. I want to have some cigars with the boys, because I think that's going to be freaking awesome. Oh, I can't wait to meet Rap. I can't wait to meet Zoe, to see you, Lefty, to see D Woods, to see like all the boys. Oh, it's going to be so good. We're all in section. You didn't get did you get tickets in our section, in section 323? or you're staying with your family and just kind of like meeting up with us at Skull Fest and whatnot, because like your seats are way nicer than the ones that we ended up getting, right? So Norse, did you get the tickets in section 323 with us? With all the because I know Zoe, D Woods, me, Mike Sports Vibes. Oh man, I can't wait to meet Mike. He's so bad. I love watching his lives too. When I get a chance to, because I've been working so much the last few months, it's been super hard to catch people's lives because I'm either just dog shit tired and bagged from driving because I've been doing essentially been doing car service driving, so driving people to the airport and to and from different cities in southwestern Ontario. So yeah, you're in 339, so not too far. So we all should be in that same kind of area, eh? That's fucking awesome, bro. It's gonna be so good. Oh man, we're all gonna be like right there, bro. Oh, dude, it's gonna be so awesome just to be like, I can like almost picture it, just being in the stands, in the nosebleeds, being able to look forward and see like Mike, see like Zoda my behind, because I don't exactly know where everybody is. So I didn't exactly, I know everybody talked in the group chat and let everybody know where they are, but for the most part, I see like people are like below and above me. So I'm kind of like right in the middle of everybody. So like we're all right there. Oh, it's gonna be fucking dope, man. Oh, it's gonna be so good. I wonder if you could just zip on over to our section if we got some openings, right? Because it's all up at the 330s and stuff like that. Because we 323 or 332, 323. Yeah. So man, that's gonna be fucking awesome, dude. That's gonna be fucking awesome. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I don't know if Rap's gonna be in our area. I bet you Rap's gonna get some nice seats. Usually I like to get once a season. Whenever I try to go like once or twice a season if I go in a season, and once I'll kind of like go to like affordable tickets, and then one of the two games I'll try to get like badass freaking seats. So I got a couple of years ago, I got seats in the I forget where it was, but we got access to the Skull Lounge where they come in and off the field. Oh man, one of the most incredible freaking experiences ever. Oh, so much free food and free alcohol, man. I wish that was an upgrade because I would totally pay for that upgrade. Just go down there to hang out. So good. So good. Anybody have any topics or anything that you guys have on your mind for this season? Any doubts when it comes to yeah, because Lefty's a season ticket holder, right? So that's what I was gonna say. Like if he sold his and ended up getting tickets in our area, but he's probably gonna be with his family, him and his boys in his area, with his tickets and his buddies. So I think he said him and a few friends have a few in a row there that they all kind of go together. So and then he'll just kind of meet up with us and have a good time, man. It's gonna be so good. Oh, we're so close, guys. It's so freaking close. But anyways, okay, I'm gonna say it. I don't have any fears. You know how like last year going into the season, like I had utmost confidence in the situation that we were because I was like, okay, let's look at this theoretically, or not theoretically, logically. We have Sam Darnold that spent a year sitting behind Brock Purdy, learning from Kyle Shanahan when they went on a Super Bowl run. So there's a lot of stuff that they learned from there. So it was one thing that helped me gain a little bit of confidence in the Sam Darnold decision, right? Another thing, KOC. After watching what he did with the Pastronaut and in certain situations with quarterbacks and how he's kind of developed this reputation of being the quarterback whisperer, that was another aspect of kind of like letting this kind of like uneasy feeling when it came to our starting quarterback going into last season, right, with Sam Darnold. Kind of let it all kind of be like, you know what? Despite my nerves, I just kind of have to let Jesus take the wheel and just trust that what we have and like the coach, quarterback room, everything, right, was just going to be more than enough to just not it be a factor for me to worry about, essentially. And then we seen it play out, how well it turned out, right? Now, I don't have that kind of like that pit in my feeling, that kind of like weird not nerves, like like that uneasy feeling, like you just maybe like when you're like, did I just eat some raw chicken? Can you kind of feel like that 20-30 minutes right before like that that vomiting, just like uncontrollable like vomiting happens, when you're just like uneasy and just like queasy, just kind of like this weird sensation. I have absolutely zero when it comes to JJ. Like I said, back when we made that playoff run and we lost with Kirk Cousins, that was the year that I really wanted to start my YouTube channel. I was so happy. I spent like the second half of the season narrating and writing this like thank you to like Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings for giving us such a spectacular season when a lot of people didn't think we would even do anything, and then we went and fucking shit the bed against the Giants. So I put a cap on that video, kind of threw that out the fucking window, and I just never went with it, right? And now last year I was like, the excitement of JJ McCarthy in that era, because I remember thinking going into had before they had released that interview with Jaden Daniels, and where they highlighted his work ethic, I was like, wow, maybe Jaden Daniels wouldn't be too bad of an option. But before that, I was really content with JJ, because to me he was the most accurate, and accuracy is something that is just too important to just look over. Like, look at how certain quarterbacks struggle. Anthony Richardson, Lamar Jackson, right? Look at some of these quarterbacks that really struggle with accuracy, and how in certain situations other defensive coordinators scheme to put them in bad situations and take advantage of their weaknesses. And I didn't see that from JJ. I saw some inaccuracy from Drake May, and he was a little bit of a too much of a gunslinger. And that was my guy. And now we have him. And I was like, this is the JJ McCarthy era. And then he gets injured and we don't see him all season. So like, we had to make do with what we got. But you know what? We got a hell of a season. We got a storybook season. I am still waiting to see how they end up making that made for TV movie, that 30 for 30 on the 2024 Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold's resurgence. That just kind of little awesome storyline that we had as Vikings fans, and to see a lot of things. We had some downs, brother. We had some moments where these games felt impossible and so freaking hard. Why did we need to freaking make the game so hard? But we ended up with a hell of a record. We ended up with a lot of experiences and learning, most important learning experiences that I think are going to transition into this year. So this year is going to be one hell of a start to the JJ McCarthy era. That's why I have zero nerves when it comes to this. I'm going to have the same like zero nerves when it came to Sam Darnold. That first week, I had a little bit of kind of like questions and doubts, but there weren't any nerves because of our team, right? And then now this time around, I have the same kind of feeling. I have zero nerves. I'm just excited to see what the product is, because I'm so antsy, and I think we all are. So I am pumped. And so, later, Lefty, have a great rest of your shift, my dude. But there it is. It's going to be a good time. I think our defense is going to take another step forward, making it even more elite than it actually is. I'm confident in Brian Flores' ability to develop some of these schemes and some of these players that he's brought in the off season to complement our defense. I feel like he's got something for us every single year so far that he's been with us. He's made some like big leaps every single year. So I expect a lot of the same. It's going to be a good time. I don't think it's going to be a factor when it comes to Jordan being gone for these first 3 weeks. I do wonder how we're gonna handle having such a loaded offense, right? Because remember, the Redeem team, those Philadelphia Eagles with Donovan McNabb and all that superstar lineup and stuff, right? They had so many weapons, right? And they couldn't make it work, right? So I don't think that we suffer from the lack of chemistry like they did, but the factor is that when you have so many dynamic players that like you can't exactly, like, if you're feeding JJ, right? Like Hawkinson's, getting cold, and Addison's getting cold, and you know what I mean? Like, so there's so many options, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how we find balance in our offensive schemes and how we decide to attack our opponents. But regardless, I think it's going to be a hell of a season. It's going to be fun to see how we do. I think we're going to be a more well-rounded team. I think we're going to have far less self-induced mistakes like we had 2 years ago, and how we were able to dial those down last year. We still had some at the beginning of the year. We had a lot of mistakes, and a lot of self-inflicted mistakes that we had to kind of crawl back into to win. Like, so hopefully we don't see some of that. Hopefully we continue to see less and less of that, and we just see a nice poised team that just puts a great product on the field week in and week out. And yeah, I'm excited. What do you guys think? I am pumped. I truly think that I think we got anywhere between 11 to 14. I think the high to low, the reasonable take is to take the high and low on the 11 wins. That's that. The big pick behind me, that one right there. So that is, this is kind of like a super or horror villain, kind of like, hold on, I gotta turn this light so it's not glaring. But this is basically every, let me turn that one off. There we go. So this is every horror villain. So we got Pennywise, we got Michael Myers, Jason, we got Jaws, we got The Fly, we have the chick from The Exorcist, we have Sadako from The Ring, we got Jack Torrance from The Shining, Poltergeist, the little kid, that creepy kid from Poltergeist, Hannibal Lecter, the guy from Trick or Treat, the Who's Bubba, the cabin from Cabin in the Woods or whatever, the werewolf, just a bunch, the Who's Who, the guys from the burnt guy from the Lost Boys, just the Who's Who of the greatest horror villains. I'm a huge Chucky's in there somewhere too. The guy from Gremlins, Gizmo, the Frankenstein's in there. It's the Who's Who. Elvira, yeah. The Who's Who of horror villains here. I'm a huge horror fan. Oh, it's so sick. Hopefully I get the job. I applied for like Haunted Week or whatever to be working in the evenings to do to be like a horror character. Like, we have like this place where they have like a haunted house, a couple haunted houses, like they have like a haunted woods, just like a whole bunch of like horror kind of like it's not really an amusement, it's kind of like a place that families bring their kids to kind of get scared the crap out of. So I might be the guy wielding the chainsaw. So I'm going to be scaring the crap out of some kids and some families. So I am pumped for that. I love everything about Halloween and horror and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we got a whole bunch of the Purge guys right here when it comes to the pops. We got the GOAT Joker right there, Heath Ledger. We got Dragon Ball Z with we got old Goku and Vegeta taking down Cell back here. The goat, both goats. Look at that. We got some Flame Boy and Wet Willie. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. So yeah, I think that brings us to the end. Any holy shit, that was a 2-hour fucking stream. We were breaking it down. There was a lot of stuff to talk about this NFC North. I'm glad that I was able to get the NFC North preview breakdown. Last year, the way that I did it, I reacted to the NFC North podcast, like that breakdown where they have Jay, just another year, Chicago Bears, Basaraski Productions, all those guys. I broke down their what's it called, their season preview, and I was just kind of just shit talking everything. It was more like a reaction video because it was so laughable and it was so funny because, like, at the time I hadn't spent any time with Jay, but or from with just another year Chicago Bears, but I remember shitting so hard on his take that they were going to be, I think he said they were going to win like 13 games. And I was like, bro, you're going to be lucky to win 5 games. And I was so close at predicting their record. Man, I wish I could apply for the Vikings. Man, I have to set up for a work visa and apply. That would be incredible. Be part of their social media department. That would be freaking awesome. You know what we need to freaking bring back? They need to bring back Brian Robinson and 96 Questions. Just as a character. Like, come by once. Doesn't he live in the area? Is it? Oh no, wait. He moved back home. I feel like I don't think he's in the area for him to come down. I think they had him do kind of like a one-time kind of like 96 Questions last year or the year before, but man, I really missed those. Those were so funny. The best one was who would you not let date your girl or your sister? And everybody was like, Diggs. Absolutely Diggs. So yeah, he's from Texas. That's right. Brian Robinson, man, he's a hell of a freaking guy. Hey, big shout out to our freaking Jared Allen, inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Hell of a pass rusher. Man, you know what? I was going back and I had forgotten, or maybe at the time I was so new to football that it may have gone over my head, or maybe I'd seen the headlights or the headlines about the controversy on how they had stolen that half sack away from him, and that's the reason why he didn't break Michael Strahan's, and how the NFL wanted to protect Michael. So this conspiracy theory, but man, Jared Allen, man, congratulations, sir. Hell of a freaking pass rusher. He was, man, his hog tie celebration, or his man, oh man, I love that era of football. Vicente Shanko, freaking oh man, who else would he have? Mr. Rice, Sidney Rice. We had Percy Harvin. We had Adrian Peterson. Oh man, that era, I missed that era of football, of Vikings football. I was such a noob at the time. Oh, Diggsy, man. I'll always love Diggs. Fun story. I probably told this story a ton of times on the channel, but the year of the Minneapolis Miracle, I was there. I went there twice. I went there once, week 11 against I think it was like week 11, late in the season against the Saints. And I remember saying we were so close, and we had that stupid fumble that Thielen never fumbles the goddamn ball, and that's what turned that game around. We were literally dominating. They couldn't stop anyone. And that fumble turned it, and we lost the game. But I remember leaving out of the freaking stadium and talking shit to the Saints fans that were there. And I remember telling them, "We will fucking see you in the playoffs, and we're gonna break your hearts then." And we fucking did. But I was there on preseason there that season, and then the week 11 or whatever, 12, and for preseason against San Francisco, and Tyler Heineke ended up winning the game in with the final play of the game, and it was a hell of a freaking game. I was plastered, but yeah, that game I was hammered. At the end of the game, as everybody was coming off, Diggs was freaking such a good guy. Like, he always stayed and signed literally every kid's autograph. If there was kids still on the railing on the front of the clubhouse and on the railings as they come in off the field, if there were any kids, he always stopped and signed all of their autographs. He was awesome that way. And I remember being plastered and he's coming off, and I was like, Diggs, sign me, remember me, because the day before we had just pulled into Minneapolis and I was starving. So we went to dinner, and I was like, let's go to, I didn't even want to get anything fancy. I just like, let's go to the Mall of America and let's go to the food court and let's just see what they have in America for food, because your guys' restaurants are different than the ones here in Canada. So I was pumped for that. And as I'm walking into the food court, no, we had just finished eating, and as we were leaving the food court, he was walking in. I look up, and Stephon Diggs and two of his buddies are walking into the food court. And I've met celebrities in the past, and I've never been starstruck, but I was starstruck because I saw him, and I was like, "That's Stephon Diggs," and I just pointed at him, and I was like, and I just couldn't say. I was like, and then he like just walked away, and he looked at me, he pointed back at me, and he just like smiled and just kept walking. And I was like, as he was away, and then he was gone. I was like, that was Stephon Diggs. And I was standing there with my girlfriend. I was like, that was fucking Stephon Diggs. That was the fucking awesome. I didn't even get to talk to him or anything. And then the next day at the game, I was fucking plastered. And we had just won the game. He's coming around. He signed all the kids' full autographs. And I'm like, Stephon, sign my jersey. And he recognized me from the fucking food court. I swear to God. And he signed my jersey. And it was fucking one of the most awesome moments ever. I love Stephon. I'm always rooting for him. I hope he does well this season in New England. We got Ben Lieber, Chad Greenway. Oh, geez. Oh, fucking geez, man. But you know what? We have been yapping away. Any other questions, any other comments, anything you guys want to talk about this season? I know we were talking earlier about Skullfest. I thought we are freaking pumped to see all you guys. I know I am. I can't wait to meet everybody. I can't wait to shake everybody's hand and just be around all you guys, just because I enjoy being around good people, and I can tell you guys are all good people. So I'm so excited to see everybody out there. Home opener is going to be fun. I hope we just destroy those Falcons. I hope they get beat so bad that they have to throw Kirk Cousins in, because and he just shits the bed and just has to be out there. Just kind of rub it in, because man, he could have. You know what? Karma, right? He didn't want to go mentoring another guy, and I guess that's what he got. But anyways, guys, any other things? I'm excited, guys. The beginning of a dynasty. I wholeheartedly think we are in those first building blocks, those first baby steps in the beginning of this new dynasty that I believe that these Minnesota Vikings are going to build over the next few years. I know it's very premature to call us a dynasty, and I don't think we are just yet, but I feel like we have all the ingredients. We just need things to go right. We need to have the right learning experiences. We also need to have the right guys in our coaching and in our locker room, which I think we have a solid fucking team. Let's go, guys. I got to head back to bed. I got to head to bed because I got to get up early tomorrow, too. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the Purple and Gold Bars Live. Every single week we'll be doing on Monday the Purple and Gold Bars podcast, talking about the week, the game that happened the week before. We'll be doing our watch parties like always, trying to join in on an after show after the game. We're going to be as active as we possibly can. It is that time. Let's go, guys. Skol, Vikings. I'll see you guys on the next one.